While Bitcoin continues to be volatile, though it's about flat this morning, depending on where you're looking. There's been some talk of the cryptocurrency going to zero. Here was Squawk Alley yesterday.
It's a very significant, I would say maybe a third chance that Bitcoin goes to zero. Now, that doesn't mean that people can't have fun. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's completely possible.
What would it take to take Bitcoin to zero? Because that sounds outrageous to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it lost half its value in the last 30 days. So it's quite possible that another technology comes along that's faster, cheaper.
Well, you know what I think about that, but who cares what I think about it? To discuss, we're joined now by Andreessen Horowitz board partner and Earn.com CEO Balaji Srinivasan. Balaji, thanks for being with us again. What do you think of the volatility of Bitcoin and the chance that it could lose all serious value?
Yeah, so, you know, I'm friends with Jason. I respect him. I like him. I disagree with him on this issue. I don't think Bitcoin is going to go to zero. And the reason for that is that we have historical evidence. We have a huge community now worldwide of all of these holders who have, or hodlers, as you know, we say in the community, who have held through very tough times, including like an 86% drop, you know, from January 2014 to January 2015. And that was when the whole thing had just much less attention and much less energy and infrastructure than it does today. With that said, I think that a good long-term projection is that Bitcoin's market cap in the long term, I think, continues to rise, but its market share as a percentage of total coin market capitalization continues to fall. And that is because, as Jason observes, there are other kinds of coins that are coming out that are filling other roles in the ecosystem. Bitcoin has, I think, a lock on the digital gold application, for which longevity is very important. There are kinds of things like, you know, fast payments or private payments or a technology platform. Those things other coins are potentially better at.
Well, Balaji, here's the problem that I have with this theory. We've had the Visa CEO telling CNBC that part of the problem with this, why Visa won't directly accept Bitcoin, is the volatility. A number of bank CEOs have also said that. So, but if Bitcoin stays flat for a period of time, the community of people that have been buying it recently are going to get less excited about it, which should put some downward pressure on it. So is it for transactions or is it not?
Definitely not anymore. I think that there was a time a few years ago when people thought Bitcoin by itself could be for everything. But right now, and probably for the foreseeable future, Bitcoin is just a pure digital gold. For transactions, something like, you know, Bitcoin Cash or possibly the new Lightning Network that's built on top of Bitcoin could be interesting. Obviously, Ethereum and other kinds of things. There's many competitors for the cryptocurrency transaction market. Bitcoin itself, though, is just purely a digital gold, really, at this point.
Balaji, Journal has a piece about hedge funds trimming their positions in some of these cryptocurrencies. One executive told the Journal his fund was 50% invested now versus 90% in December. I mean, you can imagine what would happen if a viewer suggests the president came out with a tweet saying that they were going to crack down hard on this.
Well, I mean, you know, I think the way to make money is to buy low and sell high. And if you bought in December and now you sold today, you bought high and sold low, and that's like probably not what you want to do. You know, insofar as hedge funds, you know, trimming their positions and so on, I think, like, you know, a smart thing to do is if you think that there is a correction coming, then you hold your capital and be ready when that happens. You know, regarding the president, you know, making tweets about it, you know, my guess is as good as yours on that. We'll all be entertained if that happens.
Balaji, all of the arguments, or most of them that I've seen about why Bitcoin is changing the world has to do with what it does for transactions, what it does for international commerce. So I'm concerned about the idea that now suddenly it's solely supposed to be this store of value with little to no use for actually transacting. I mean, aren't there so many other things that you could do to store value versus put it in something like Bitcoin if that's what it's become?
That's a really good question, and I think actually it is really potentially the best store of value out there. For example, you know, when Germany wanted to get its gold back from New York, they had to actually go. So they had lots of gold bricks stored at the New York Federal Reserve. It was a multi-year operation to repatriate all that money. Whereas with Bitcoin, it would just be hitting a key, and then, you know, it might take an hour or so, but you can move an arbitrary amount of money that way. And so it doesn't have the weight and the other aspects of other kinds of stores of value. You might also say, well, why not just hold like $1 billion in cash? But that's actually why, folks buy negative interest rate, treasury bonds, because a bank won't hold $1 billion in cash for you safely. It's only insured up to the FDIC limit. Whereas people who buy these negative interest rate treasury bonds do so because they feel that, the U.S. government will redeem it, but then they're losing a few percentage points on it over a 10-year period. So relative to other kinds of things, relative to gold, relative to large amounts of cash, Bitcoin actually is a very good store of value, and you can kind of show that.
Well, it's an evolving case, but a lot of people still making it. Thank you, Balaji, for joining us.
Thank you.
As you know by now, the president has landed at Davos and begun meetings at the World Economic Forum. Our Michelle Crusoe Cabrera is there and joins us this morning with